Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Table Full of Joy. If you're new, I'm so glad you're here. If you've been following along for a while, welcome back. So this morning we are getting a head start on breakfast, or getting a head start on dinner. We are having breakfast for dinner. That's why I had breakfast on the brain. We typically don't eat breakfast because my husband and I both fast. So we fast from about 6:30 to 7 o'clock in the evening until close to noon the next day. So breakfast, we don't get to enjoy those breakfast foods unless we have them other times of the day. And so I was thinking ahead a couple of weeks ago when we had some leftover things, and I thought I'm going to put that in the freezer. I'm going to plan ahead, and we are going to have French toast for dinner one night, one of my husband's favorite breakfast foods. So come on in my kitchen and let's make some French toast. So since we don't eat breakfast, my husband used to do smoothies for breakfast, and he hasn't been doing them for the last couple of weeks. So I had these berries in the freezer from Costco. So I decided I'm going to make a really fun berry sauce to go with our French toast tonight, just something different than maple syrup. He prefers berry stuff anyway. So we're going to get started on our sauce. This is just going to hang out. We're going to put it on the stove. We're going to let it simmer for a little while till it's nice and thick, and then it's just going to sit there all day. It's going to be totally fine. We're not going to have to worry about it. We're not going to have to think about it. It's just going to sit there right before we eat. I'll turn the burner back on. I'll heat up our syrup, and this will be ready for our French toast. So we're gonna just do 4 cups of any kind of berry. If you not a mixed berry fan, then don't do mixed, whatever kind of berries you guys like. There we go, that looks good. All right, so there's our 4 cups. We're gonna just put those in our pan. The nice thing is these are going to keep in a jar. We're gonna put these in a mason jar. We're gonna stick these in our fridge. These will be perfect if we end up having unexpected guests over. It'll be perfect on ice cream at some point. We do have guests coming this Sunday for lunch after church, but we're not sure what we're doing for dessert yet. But this is gonna be perfect. It's gonna sit in the refrigerator. It's gonna be totally fine. So we're gonna put in 1/4 cup of sugar. I don't like to make this too sweet because I'm not a huge fan of overly sweet sauces, like berries. I'm just not a fan of that. So the other thing we need to do really quick is we need to put in 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. This is going to be our thickener. So we need 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water. So we're using equal parts cornstarch to water. So let's go ahead and put our water into our cornstarch. Let's give this a little bit of a mix. All right, so we're gonna put this on the stove. We're gonna get our berries started first before we add our cornstarch and water, because our berries are gonna give off a little bit of juice. And I may not want all of this because I wanna control how thick this sauce is. I don't want it to be thick like a jam. I want it to be more runny like a sauce. So we're gonna get our berries started first in our pan, and we will hold this back, and we will add this when we get ready. The other thing we need to do is we need to pull out our stuff for dinner tonight. When we went to Costco the last time, we grabbed a 4-pack of bacon. The other thing is we had guests for dinner after church a couple Sundays ago, and I made a sour cream pasta bake that was amazing. This is the leftover French bread from that. I was thinking ahead. I thought we are not going to eat all of this bread. I need to save this for something else. So my thought process was I'm going to throw this in the freezer. I'll be able to use this later. So here we are later, a couple weeks. It's gonna be perfectly fine. It's gonna be nice and soft. It's gonna be perfect bread for French toast. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna thaw this out this afternoon or this morning. Then this afternoon, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this into slices, as many slices as I need for tonight. And I'm gonna let this set out because I want it to be a little bit dry. Drier bread tends to give you a better French toast because it absorbs the liquid better than a softer bread. So we're gonna set this out. We're gonna just let this thaw along with our bacon, and we are going to cut it later this afternoon after it has thawed out a little bit. It's gotten nice and soft. We'll slice it, and then it'll be ready for us to make French toast tonight. So we've got our burner on. We're gonna get started on our berry sauce. We've got our berries. We're gonna toss these with our sugar, and we're gonna let these start to cook over medium heat so that the berries can start to thaw out. They can start to release some juice. And then these are going to get the cornstarch and water mixture that we just made, so that we will be ready for our delicious French toast. I'm excited for French toast tonight. We are trying to eat a little more low carb, and so we're trying to really cut back on how much we eat, how many carbs we eat, trying to really control the number of carbs we eat per day. I don't typically eat a lot of carbs during the day when I do start to eat after I break my fast. My husband doesn't either, so I tend to allow us a few more carbs at dinner time just because we're not eating a lot of carbs during the day. So our berries are gonna just sit here over medium heat, continue to thaw out, continue to release some juice, and then we're gonna go ahead and start adding our cornstarch and water mixture in here so that we can control how thick we make our sauce, because I don't want it like a jam. I want it more thin and runny so that it's more like a sauce to go over French toast. Okay, our berries are starting to thaw out. We're gonna go ahead and start adding a little bit of our cornstarch and water mixture. Let's give it another stir just to make sure it's all mixed up. Cornstarch will tend to fall to the bottom of the bowl, so you just need to give it another quick mix. We're gonna add about half of it right now so that we can cook this and see where we're at with our thickness. But I think this is gonna be amazing on our French toast tonight. This is a great berry mixture from Costco with the blueberries, the raspberries, the strawberries. It has some big, beautiful Marionberries in here, which is one of my favorite berries. I love Marionberries. So we're gonna cook this just a little bit longer. Get this up to temperature. I think, looking at this, I think we can go ahead and add the rest of this. I think we're still gonna be within the thickness that I want for my sauce for French toast tonight, so I think we're gonna be okay. So we're just gonna let this come up to a simmer. We need to cook that cornstarch flavor out. We don't want that in there. It's like a flour flavor. We don't want that in our sauce. And right now our sauce, as you can see, is a little cloudy looking. That color is gonna change as that cornstarch starts to blend in, starts to cook out. It's gonna become more of a richer, darker color as we start to cook out that cornstarch. So we're gonna just let this cook for a couple of minutes. We're gonna clean up our mess and we'll check on this in a couple minutes. All right, so it's starting to boil just a little bit. And I think I want to add a little more berry to this. We still have some. I want, now that we're almost at the stage where it's going to be as thick as it's going to get shortly, I want to add in just a few more berries because I really want to have some chunks. The only berries that did not break down is the blueberries and the Marionberries. And I really want some pieces of a little more berry chunks in here. So I think I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of extra berries to this. And I think that's going to be perfect for us anyway. You do what you want to do. If you are happy with the way it is when you cook it, it's totally up to you. It's a personal preference for me, but I think I like this a little more berry forward. And I think we're going to taste it. I don't want it too sweet, but I also don't want it too sour either. I think it's going to be fine. I think that's actually perfect. I can still taste a little bit of our cornstarch in there. So we definitely need to let it cook for a few more minutes just to get the rest of that cornstarch flavor cooked out. But remember, we are going to reheat this evening when we're ready to eat dinner. We're going to warm this up so that we have a warm sauce to go over our French toast. So I'm only going to let this cook for maybe another minute, and then I'm going to turn it off and I'm just going to let it hang out for the rest of the day. I'm going to get some editing done. I've got a few more things I need to do around the house today, so I'm going to get those things finished and just let this kind of sit here and hang out. And then tonight we'll heat this up when we get ready to make our French toast. I was just looking around in my produce basket over here, and I have an orange that's not looking super great. We didn't eat it. If I remember right, my husband said it wasn't a super great orange. So I think I'm gonna zest that orange tonight. Maybe put a little bit of that orange juice in our egg mixture for our French toast, and that's gonna be tasty with this berry sauce. Orange and berry go very well together. So I think we're gonna use up that orange that's in our produce bowl that's been sitting there and not looking so great, but we're going to use that up. We're not going to waste it. So, because we are in a pantry challenge, and so we're trying to use up everything we've got, not waste anything. So here is our berry sauce. It is not completely done yet. Like I said, we are going to let this sit here today and just kind of hang out on the stove. No heat on or anything like that. Just let it sit here and kind of hang out. And then this evening, we're going to reheat this when we get ready to make our French toast. So we'll bring you guys back when we get ready to start making French toast for dinner. All right, so we're ready to get started on our breakfast. We turned our berry sauce back on so it can slowly start heating up. We're going to go ahead and cut our bread. Right now, this is our leftover French bread that we had from a couple of weeks ago that we stuck in the freezer. So we're going to go ahead and slice this into some even pieces. This is going to make super tasty French toast tonight. We are going to cut this and just let this kind of hang out on the counter while we are getting our bacon going on our tray. So let's just move our bread aside over here so it can just kind of hang out. We've got our Costco bacon. We have a tray right here that we lined with some parchment paper, and we just put a rack on this. I find that cooking bacon on a rack in your oven is the best way to get your bacon cooked, and it's not sitting or cooking in or like kind of soaking in the grease. I don't like my bacon to be super greasy, so I find the best way to not have that happen is to cook it on a rack. So we're just going to load all of our bacon on this rack. Looks like this pack of bacon had some little pieces down here on the bottom that didn't get cut all the way, but that's fine. So we're just going to put all of our bacon on this rack, get it spread out. We're just going to throw this in a 400-degree oven for roughly 15-20 minutes is about how long it takes to cook bacon in the oven. I think we're going to go this direction with it so it's not falling through. I don't want it falling through my rack. So we're going to just line all of our bacon on here. This was the best secret I ever found, was to cook bacon on a rack suspended like this so that it's not just sitting in grease. I still save my bacon grease because bacon grease is one of the best things to cook, like beans and you know, even if you're just cooking some eggs, to have some leftover bacon grease to be able to cook those eggs in is always super tasty. Let's get our oven into our 400-degree oven. We're gonna let that cook, and we're gonna get finished on our custard mixture for our French toast. I had an issue with one of my eggs, it was broke, so I just had to put it in there. So we've got 3 eggs in here. I told you guys earlier that we had an orange. The oranges were not very good flavor wise or easy to peel. So it's been sitting in my produce basket for a little bit. So we're just gonna use the zest off of this and possibly a little bit of the juice if I can get juice out of it. This was just not a very good batch of oranges, but we're not gonna let it go to waste. We're gonna use whatever we can get out of it. Orange is a super good flavor with French toast, especially with our orange or with our berry sauce that we're using on top of it. So we got our zest off of there. Let's grab some vanilla. I have some of our homemade vanilla. So we're gonna put a splash of that in there. That's just gonna add some extra flavor to it. We're gonna go ahead and cut our orange. Let's just use our serrated knife because we've already got it dirty. We're gonna squeeze it. And we're getting some orange juice out of it. But they were horrible for peeling. They just did not peel very well. So we're gonna go ahead and use the whole orange in here. And cinnamon is another thing that goes with orange and vanilla as far as French toast goes. So we're gonna go ahead and put just a little bit of cinnamon in here. All right, so let's put just a little. You don't want a lot, just a little bit. You want it to just give you that warm feeling in the back of your throat is what it should do. Let's grab a little bit of milk. And then we're gonna whisk this. Let's use our little one. Get this all whisked up. This was my grandmother's way of making French toast when I was a kid. Was she would get out one of her pie pans, and that's what she would use for her dredging for her French toast. So that has always been my thing too, is when I do French toast, is to just grab a pie pan. Make sure we get all of that cinnamon whipped up in here. We want this to have some really, really good flavor. Our bacon is going to take about 15-20 minutes. I don't want to dip my French toast yet. I want to give it bacon time to finish up before I dip the egg or dip the bread in the egg. So we're going to let this just kind of sit and hang out. We're going to keep our whisk close by, so when we come back to do this, if our eggs have separated a little bit, we can just give it one more whisk before we dredge our bread. So we're gonna let our bacon cook and we'll come back and finish this. All right, so our bacon is almost done. We're gonna give our eggs another whisk just to make sure that we've got everything combined. As you know, when you put cinnamon in stuff, it tends to kind of float to the top and it doesn't stay where it's supposed to, so it does kind of separate a little bit. So we're just gonna give this another quick whisk. That smells really good with the orange and the cinnamon in that. We've got our butter over here in our pan. We're gonna let that our pan finish getting hot. While it's doing that, we're gonna take 2 pieces at a time and we're gonna stick this right in here in our egg mixture. We're gonna push this down. I can only get 2 pieces, I think. Maybe I can get all 4. We'll see. But we're gonna put these in here. We're gonna flip these over. I love that we can see the little orange flecks already in our French toast. That's just gonna be super, super good with our berry sauce that we made. So we're gonna go ahead and get our French toast put in our pan and we're gonna start cooking it. All right, so we've got our pan over here hot. We're gonna put our bread right in our skillet. Perfect. We can get another one in here. So we're gonna put one more piece in here in our egg and milk mixture. Get one more piece coated. We're gonna stick this one back here. Our bacon's almost done. We've got 2 more pieces of French toast to put in our pan. We've got our pan over here. We're gonna turn our heat up just a little bit. It's starting to sizzle. we are gonna cook some fried, or not fried, we're gonna do some scrambled eggs. I won't be eating any, I'll just be eating the French toast and the bacon. My husband is the egg eater, so we'll make him some scrambled eggs to go with our breakfast for dinner. But you can see our French toast is starting to really sizzle here. So our bacon is done. We are gonna put a little trivet over on our counter so we can put our bacon over here. We're gonna get our sheet pan out of here that has our bacon on it. This is smelling super tasty. There is our pan of bacon. We're gonna set that over here. Let that start to cool down just a little bit while we finish our French toast. Give it just another minute or two on that side. We're gonna put the other two in. Our berry sauce is back here on the stove and it's heating up. It's looking super, super good. That's gonna be amazing. Take a look at our French toast. That's looking super good. Look at that color. That is beautiful French toast. Look at that. Is that beautiful or what? That is gonna be super, super good. Because we wanna cook our eggs on a really low heat so that they don't get tough. That is one thing that when you are cooking eggs, if you cook them at too high of a heat, then they will be tough. And we don't want them tough. We want our eggs to be nice and tender. Got our last two pieces in here. We're gonna cook those really quick. So I'm super excited to get to eat this tonight. I'm super excited for this berry sauce that we made together this morning. This is gonna be super good. Our eggs are almost done. And we are going to have an amazing breakfast for dinner. All right, so our French toast, eggs, and bacon are done. We're gonna polish this off with a little bit of our warm berry sauce that we have, that we made together earlier. This just looks so good. Look at that. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me in my kitchen today as we made a quick breakfast for dinner with some leftover bread we threw in the freezer, some bacon we had in our freezer. Super quick, inexpensive dinner. Tasty little berry sauce we have. We have plenty. What we have left is going to go in the refrigerator. And we're going to have this to put on vanilla ice cream or any kind of other things that we want to put it on. But that'll be a nice little sweet treat that'll be stashed in our fridge for the next month or so. It'll stay good. But this is our breakfast for dinner tonight. I want to thank you guys so much again for joining me in my kitchen. I hope you guys will join me again. If you are new around here, please hit that subscribe button for me so that you don't miss out on any of the fun stuff that we're doing. And if you've liked this video, please give it a like. That really helps my channel a whole lot. When I get likes on there, that helps so that my channel and these videos get up there so people get to see these. So please give it a like for me. Hit that notification bell up there so that you guys don't miss out on any of the fun things we have going on in the kitchen. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up in the near future. I hope you guys will join me again. Have a great day, friends, and God bless.